Okay, good morning. My name is Rocco Galati. Seated to my immediate left is Ann Emmett, and to her immediate left is Mr. William Krehm. And they're two of the co-plaintiffs in an action that they filed as plaintiffs along with COMER, the Committee on Monetary and Economic Reform, against the Minister of Finance and the Bank of Canada. The challenge essentially, and this claim was filed on December 12th in the federal court, the challenge essentially is a two-pronged challenge that's set out in the statement claim, which is self-explanatory, and the details are in there. It challenges the abdication of sovereignty and governance in handing over monetary, financial, and socioeconomic policy through finances to foreign private entities, and a refusal to abide by and implement the terms of Bank of Canada Act with respect to loans, with respect to human capital spending, such as hospital, health, education, and so forth. The consequences of this abdication of sovereignty and refusal to abide by the terms of the Bank of Canada Act is that there's been a increasing gap between the rich and poor, and a quick disappearance of the middle class, and consequent constitutional violations that are set out in paragraph 47 of the statement of claim. The second part of the second aspect of the challenge constitutionally challenges the government's refusal to publish and set out the actual revenues that are collected or collectible before the transfer back of tax credits before net revenue is calculated and announced every year. This has the effect that the effect of this is that MPs in Parliament and Canadians in general are completely left in the dark about the actual revenues Canada collects every year before the transfer credits go back, with the consequence that no real debate can be had on whether in any particular year a deficit is necessary, and if it's necessary, where the money or loans should come from. This is a constitutional violation that goes to the foundation of our system in terms of the rule of law, apart from the specific constitutional duty under Section 91(5) of the Constitution Act to maintain accurate statistics. The government has a duty to maintain not only a census but statistics, and if they have to maintain statistics, those statistics have to be accurate. Apart from this, it breaches the underlying constitutional pillars of constitutionalism, rule of law, and democracy, by which the Supreme Court of Canada has ruled are constitutional imperatives under our system. And this is required because these revenues have to be set out before the House of Commons exercises its taxing power. Only Parliament can exercise a taxing power in order to provide the funds and expenditures flowing from the speech from the throne. So the taxing power cannot be exercised under our constitutional framework until the expenditures are going to be set out. You can't set out expenditures in isolation without calculating total revenue. This in turn ties back this flaw in the budgetary process. Then comes back because the fallacious numbers that are issued give you a distorted view of what actually is the deficit or isn't the deficit, and how the debt is accumulated in any given year. And it ties back to the issue of that are raised under the Bank of Canada Act, and where this money should come from if we need it in any given year. So with that, if you have any questions, either Ann or Bill or myself can try to answer them.
How long do you expect before this case actually comes up in court?
I anticipate that there'll be different junctures at which this case will come up in court. The MO of the government in these cases is always to initially bring a motion to strike, saying that you have no business being here, and if you have business being here, there's no cause of action. If there is a cause of action, you should go home anyway. So they try I anticipate the first step will be the government bringing a motion to strike the entire action, saying that the courts shouldn't get into adjudicating such things as the Constitution. Okay.
For the record, why isn't there a lot of mainstream media here at this press conference?
It's surprising to me. I don't know. Usually they come to these cases where weighty legal and constitutional issues are being challenged in the courts. I can't answer for them really. I have my suspicions, but as a lawyer, I have to deal with facts, not suspicions.
For the record, Mr. Krehm, could you give us your age?
I'm 98 years old.
Thank you.
I'm not answering that question.
You don't have to.
What motivated your clients to take up this case, and when did they decide? When did you decide to take this take the government to the court?
And the first question was, what motivated you to take this on?
I went through the Great Depression of the 1930s, and as a teenager, if I can lapse into a bit of anecdote, I read about library branches being closed. We can't afford them. I lived out in the Junction. I had car fare to get to the university in my freshman and sophomore years. I used to walk there, and I'd drop into a branch library to warm up. I haven't money to buy textbooks, to find some substitutes that might be on the shelf. And I managed to get to the university and back. I think that the crucial element is that educating humans mustn't be considered an expense, but an investment. It was at one part in our history, but that has been changed very radically. It no longer is. And if you consider human capital as an expenditure and balance of budget, which is very incomplete, as our host has mentioned, you have no accountants. It's not only the initial cost to government, but let's follow this a little further.